A very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Lord, and in our news, a major highway to be renamed in honor of one of the island's most popular calypsonians. Tourism officials predict a 300% increase in arrivals from the German market. BIDC tenants offered some new arrangements to settle millions of dollars in debt. And in sports, Bangladesh moved one place closer to qualifying for Cricket World Cup semi-finals with today's win over Afghanistan.
Casting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC News Night, starting now.
And in our top story, a major event in this island's history takes place next Saturday, June 29th. On that day, the Spring Garden Highway will be renamed the Mighty Griner Highway. Culture Minister John King made that announcement at the ministry's Sky Mall headquarters this morning, and our Shane Jones reports.
Minister King says the renaming is a fitting tribute to a man that carried Barbadian music on his back for many years.
In the early 80s and late 70s, when there were not a lot of people recording music, that you could depend on Griner to provide you with that infectious music that everybody wanted to dance to. And in touring with him, you could see the kind of respect, the love that he would gather from people all over the diaspora.
The renaming ceremony will get underway at 4:30 in the evening on the highway.
Take the format of us being able to have some video tributes to him, some live tributes from personalities who have worked with the Mighty Griner for a long time, people who are very close to him. We also have some live performances. A number of our entertainment fraternity personnel would have wanted to be able to be a part of this particular aspect of it, but there's only room for so many.
The event is a collaboration between the Ministries of Culture, Information and Public Affairs and Transport Works and Maintenance. Minister Lucille Moe says she is excited about the ceremony and is making sure it gets all the promotion it deserves.
We will be publicizing the event through the Government Information Service. We'll be doing it on all of the radio stations as well as on social media. Certainly we also be using CBC, TV8 as well. The event itself, we plan to live stream. So for those of you who are not able to make it down there, we're hoping a lot of people will come because I think it's going to be extremely exciting. But we will be live streaming it so people at home will be able to see it. And then after the event, we certainly will be re-showing it again on TV8 so that everyone will get a chance to see and be a part of this historic occasion.
The ceremony takes place on Saturday, June 29th. Shane Jones, CBC News.
And joining us live now is the man himself, Mr. MacDonald Blendman, the Mighty Griner. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for coming here too.
And congratulations to you. Did all of this come as a surprise to you?
Well, it was a pipeline from the other government, but the present PM always had this under her bet that any she win the government, she will name the highway after me. And she won. And she finally did it.
Do you see it as a fitting tribute?
Well, yes. It's something that I appreciate very much. And it fits me overall to see that the government of Barbados recognize the stuff I did.
And what do you think about the government recognizing cultural icons like yourself?
Well, for me now, that sure is a step ahead for the elder fellas to follow in my footsteps. And I hope that the younger guys that are coming up respect the art form and learn to make decent music.
On that point about decent music, how has the cultural landscape changed, do you think, over the years?
Because in our day, when the early 60s, I came out in the 60s, with all guys like the Mighty Charm and Lord Sivers and a whole heap of other guys. I think the youngest people there was me and Gabby and Romeo. But I think that the music changed over the years. I know, music changes.
Of course.
But for us, we did something for Barbados, me, Gabby Bike, Wasaili, and some others. We were back in the 80s, leading up to the 90s. That our cultural calypso art form was moving very well ahead. But I find that it do a little dip. Not that we putting down the young people. Everybody got their own thing to do. But I think we got too much walk-up thing in the AR music. You know, you need some stories.
Right, I was about to answer about this storytelling aspect.
Commentary. It's like maybe you go to school to give you a poem. You take the poem home, you learn it, carry back the book tomorrow morning, and you have to learn that poem with your head.
Now, you've won the Road March title 7 times. Do you think you could go for another title if you wanted to?
Well, if you're doing back the same music that we was doing before, more than they could get it do. But I don't think I'll be able to do it with the kind of music that they're doing now. Because I think we hear one of these songs here all.
But would you be willing to perform again in competition?
I'm still performing, and I think I got another, I don't want to be wrong, but I think I got another 27 years coming, you know.
Sounds good to me. Thank you so
73
much.
and 27 will be 100. You don't get there in a hurry, you know.
It is true. It is true. Thank you so much. That's the mighty
thanks
greater.
very much, and
Thank you. And congratulations to you once again.
Thanks for that, and I know the whole of Barbados is proud of me.
Of course we are, indeed. Thank you so much. Now, when the names of the soca artists that will be vying for a place in the final of the revamped MQI 98.1 The One Soca Monarch competition next month were released last evening, the music fraternity was buzzing at the news of some notable omissions. Now, Edwin Yearwood, the first to win the inaugural Party Monarch back in 1995, failed to impress the judges at the preliminary stage. Now, there's also no room for 2015 champ Peter Ram among the 34 chosen to battle Lil Rick and Mikey in that final. And this is the 6th straight year that Faith has made the semis. She's in with All Night, and she told us she's excited about the changes.
It being one competition, no longer Sweet and Party, so excited to see how that will go, Sweet versus Party. And yeah, especially excited because it's also a song that I co-wrote with Miss Raylene, so pretty excited about how that will turn out, and hoping to make it all the way to the final stage.
And Walks is another artist who has been getting some massive attention for his bashment Soca Meet. However, his Champions of Color has earned him a spot in the semis.
I'm a young upcoming artist, and sharing the stage with these legends or these persons who were role models before I even got into the singing aspect of things, you know, it's a good look. And I intend to come and just give my best, my utmost best 100 to let Barbados and the rest of the world know that I'm here to stay, and the future of soca is in good hands.
Well, the International Monetary Fund has approved the second disbursement of funds to Barbados of $48.7 million. The disbursement follows the IMF's first review under its Extended Fund Facility, or EFF, for Barbados. In a statement issued today, the IMF said that its executive board has now completed the first review of the island's economic recovery and transformation program under the EFF. Following the executive board discussion, Deputy Managing Director and Acting Chair, Mr. Tao Zhang, has said that Barbados made a strong start in implementing its ambitious and homegrown economic reform program. He added that all performance criteria for March 2019 were met and all structural benchmarks have been implemented, although a few with minor delays. Well, tourism officials are predicting a 300% increase in visitor arrivals from the German market for the 2019 winter tourist season. And this was revealed by Director of the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.'s Europe office, Anita Nightingale. She was speaking during a German travel workshop at the Hilton Hotel. Our Sharika Griffith tells us more.
At present, the island is serviced by a single airline, Condor. But come October, Germany's largest airline, Lufthansa, will begin a 3 times weekly 900-seat service to the island. This means numbers from Germany should be significantly higher than the 10,000 that arrived here last year.
The capacity that we have had for a long time has been around 7,000, and this is just for the winter. I'm focusing on the winter because, of course, the winter is where we get most of our visitors. Now with Lufthansa, that's tripled.
According to Chief Executive Officer of the BTMI, William Billy Griffith, Condor is also planning to increase its airlift capacity for the peak season.
They have been the mainstay of our German air service over the past several years, and who will also be scheduling 2 weekly flights this coming winter.
The BTMI officials were speaking to local and German tourism officials, travel agents, and journalists gathered for an FVW workshop at the Hilton Hotel. FVW is the leading travel trade magazine in the German market. This year, the company chose Barbados as one of 2 destinations to host workshops. Next month, the magazine, which has a circulation of 119,000, will publish a 10-page feature on Barbados. Barbados will also host the winners of a German television show called 4 Weddings and a Dream Trip.
We're doing this with Condor. It should be very much fun. There are about 4 to 5 million viewers, and we are going to be the dream trip. So it's kind of lovely that we don't have to advertise during the show because we're going to be a part of the show.
There are also plans to wrap the German commuter train, the S-Bahn, with Barbadian promotional material for 2 months starting July 15th. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
With less than a week to go before the ban on petrol-based plastics officially goes into effect, Minister of Maritime Affairs and the Blue Economy Kirk Humphrey has reiterated that more attention needs to be given to opportunities that can come out of the ban. And he made the comments while addressing a Barbados Labour Party Christchurch East branch meeting yesterday. Now, the minister adds that banning plastics alone will not make Barbados clean. And Barbados must continue to increase individual and collective efforts in the face of threats posed by terrorism. Attorney General Dale Marshall sees it as a global threat to all states. Now, for small island states, he identified resource constraints and porous borders as challenges. Mr. Marshall welcomed support from the United Kingdom in the fight as a counterterrorism tabletop exercise got underway this morning at the Barbados Defence Force St. Anne's Fort Base. Now, in attendance, representatives from the BDF, Immigration and Customs, the Regional Security System and the Department of Emergency Management.
The geographic realities of our small islands, while serving as a boost for tourism and perhaps international business and other investments, also present policymakers and strategists with many sleepless nights. They present the authors of harm with many potential opportunities that I imagine you will discuss over the next few days. So as you undertake your work throughout this week, you do so against the backdrop where terrorism prevails as a global threat to the peace and stability of all states, small or large, rich or poor. And where radicalized Islamic organizations are increasingly influencing the actions of individuals, and more troublesome, they are finding recruits within our region.
Meantime, British High Commissioner to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Janet Douglas, believes that despite being a safe destination, the possibility of terrorist activity for Barbados is real. She says tackling international security threats is important to the United Kingdom, including reducing threats to the UK and its interest overseas.
Our support for this exercise is therefore a positive affirmation of the importance we attach to supporting our partners and friends across the world in tackling this global threat. For terrorism potentially affects every person in every nation throughout the world. None of us is immune. Terrorism is insidious. It does not recognize borders, and it actively seeks to challenge the shared values of democracy and the rule of law to which our countries adhere.
The local commercial banking sector has come under fire for its lack of support for small businesses. During CBC TV8's The People's Business program last evening, Chief Executive Officer of the Small Business Association, Senator Lynette Holder, noted that these financial institutions are not small business friendly. She says it is a challenge that has long existed, and it's high time the credit unions step up to fill the space needed.
Credit unions need to be able to go after the corporate member and then be able to provide the kind of products that the business will need. So the credit unions, in my view, stand a good chance at really filling that gap, getting into the space and providing funding for business development and business support.
Regional news now, and members of the disabled community in Guyana are now entitled to value-added and import tax exemptions on the purchase of smartphones and certain vehicles. The announcement was made by the Minister of Public Telecommunications, Catherine Hughes, as we hear in this report from DPI.
Guyana's community of persons living with a disability at the last census was 49,000 persons. That number is much larger today, as it includes senior citizens who have developed age-related hearing and physical impairments. The members of this community have lived on the margins of our societies for most of their lives because previous governments did not make adequate, sometimes no, provisions to accommodate their needs. This government is putting that to an end.
For the first time, persons living with disabilities will be able to purchase their own vehicles free of excise duty and VAT. They will also be granted tax rebates and handsets with accessibility features, allowing visually and hearing impaired persons to afford smartphones. During his budget presentation last November, Minister Jordan said that the two initiatives solidify the government's commitment to equity and inclusion for all citizens through the use of information and communications technology, ICT.
Trinidad and Tobago's Police Commissioner Gary Griffith intends to put a stop to illegal protest action in the country by various groups, and this comes on the heels of an anti-government protest in Tobago. We have a report from TV6.
It was unlawful assembly, and they were advised, and you would note again, the police, what they did, they were very professional. They spoke to the individuals, they guided them. They refused, 2 persons, they refused to adhere to it, and those 2 persons, they were arrested.
Griffith said while citizens have a right to protest, it must be done within the confines of the law.
What we intend to do now is if it is persons, they do not adhere to it, then the meeting, the protest, the march will be shut down, and if persons still protest, unfortunately, the police will be forced to take necessary action.
Griffith said he was flexible with Kia and fellow protesters outside the Parliament and around the Queen's Park Oval. But the situation at the weekend had gone too far.
This is not a situation to affect democracy. It is just the opposite. I would ask the public to understand the reason why this is mandatory. It is not just a law just for the sake of it. This is to ensure your own safety, your own security, so that the police will be aware of what is taking place.
He said the police have been tolerant for some time now, but strict measures will be instituted in moving forward.
Over in Jamaica now, in Portmore, police are reporting progress in nabbing a serial rapist accused of raping a dozen women so far. Now, residents of the community where the man is most active says that this case is just one of several they have had to deal with. TVJ reports.
So far, the suspect has struck in Daytona, Brayton Phase 1, Silverstone, and in Portmore Pines. The police are now telling us they're onto his trail.
So far, the police has a number of leads that are being followed in relation to the investigation of this serial rapist. Let me take this opportunity to ensure or to reassure the people in the community of Portmore that every effort is being made by the police to apprehend this individual.
Last night, residents of Portmore Pines came out to tell the harrowing stories. Joanna Whitfield relates the story of a friend who was attacked.
She works and she come home late at night, and she was escorted in by a particular person, and then a couple of days after that she was attacked. You know, she was in her bed and woke up to find this person. She heard he said something to her, and then he just stabbed her in her back.